everyone and welcome to today's Captain's Video Weblog. We are Monday, September 28th, 2015. It's a little bit over 11 p.m. So I hope I will be in time to upload it on YouTube today. Quite unlike yesterday's that suffered from my video maker, my video editing app on my phone, which didn't want to to put the clips back to back. Anyway, oh yeah, and the connection at my home, at my parents' home, which is pretty shitty, and told me that it would take like 400 minutes to upload a 2 gig video. Right. Oh, also I saw that WMV videos aren't actually that heavy, given the right, if you give the right informations to, like the sound and the bitrate, all that jazz, it goes pretty well. Anyway, so today happened a little thing that's, that's really helping me about what I told that I would. What I said I would talk about today, which is trains and how shitty they are in my region. So today, funny thing, I woke up around 9 a.m. and I saw that I had a train. Well, I woke up around 9 a.m. a bit before 9 a.m. so that I had my train. I would take in a town that's pretty close. Was running 20 minutes late, and when I had to change, I'm gonna see what's the exact term on Google. Hey. I don't think that's the word. A connection. So I have to make a connection to take a Spanish train, because we have this what is it called, high-speed railway that's really close to home, which links Paris with Barcelona. One interesting though. I don't know how you say it. Oh, I'm gonna. Catalonia. Apparently there are regional elections, and they have voted in favor of independence, which is, pretty interesting. Catalonia among the countries that want independence, especially in Spain, where is also Basque Country that wants independence. Even Scotland wanted its independence recently, voted against it, but there's still a strong independent spirit there. Catalonia is, I think, one of the only countries that could secede and work successfully. Barcelona is essential to Spain, but I don't think that whole of Spain is that essential to Catalonia. There's still the problem of what are they going to do if they secede in terms of sports, because the royal federations of football, rugby, I think, handball, and pretty much every sport said that were Catalonia to successfully secede from Spain, their teams wouldn't be accepted in the Spanish championships. So do they do a national Catalonian championship? That would be a bad idea, because just look at football or basket. It would be dominated all years by Barcelona. At the same time, it would boost the interest in other teams, such like Girona or the Espanyol of Barcelona, which would have to change its name because it's the Royal Football Club of the Royal Espanyol Football Club of Barcelona. Or maybe they would come to France, much like Monaco. Monaco is an independent country after all, and they're playing in the French championship. Could work. Just imagine all the stuff that could happen. Barcelona versus Angers. Angers, they beat us yesterday. Yeah, it could beat Barcelona. Who am I kidding right now? Anyway, so I had to go to the station where I had my connection, and we arrived like just in time. We were at a red light on the avenue that's running just past the station, and I saw the train arriving. I told my mom, "Hey, that's the train I gotta take." My mom told me to get out, and there was the case of my computer case, and it was turned upside down, and it was like, yeah, oh. And just as I took everything, light turned green. So I was fucked, I thought. But I managed to run fast enough to be 40 seconds, to have 40 seconds to get into the train, which is pretty much all I need, really, because you know, on the tickets they tell you, yeah, be 2 minutes early at least on the platform if you want to have the train. But that's more for the regional trains, not for the high-speed trains. And the Spanish trains, really cool. They have TVs. I mean, Spain, it's a country that's going down the gutter when you speak in economic terms. But they have those trains. They're much more. It's so much nicer than our trains. They've got TVs that air movies. Well, there was this. I think it was a French movie that was airing because it was in Le Havre, which is a port city in France, about an immigrant. That's very topical about the current situation in Europe. Didn't get all the gist of it, but I mean, yeah. Yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, I nearly had an asthma attack because I'm fat, I have no stamina, and I have asthma, and that was a really bad idea to run. And I didn't run that much really. Just that I was having on my back both my backpack, which had not only my school furniture but also my food and my computer case, and that's very heavy. I mean, if I had my suitcase, it would have been pretty hard to run also, but probably more manageable, you know, because basically the handle, if I may say so, acts like a pulley. You know, it redistributes the weight. And so yeah, talking about trains, there are regional elections in my region, in my country, coming up in December, and we are having. Some regions are being united with each other to reduce costs, because that's obviously something. And while at first glance, my region, which is Languedoc-Roussillon, it might be losing by uniting itself with Midi-Pyrénées, because Toulouse is so much bigger than Montpellier. What could I say? I mean, it's some kind of a big deal for trains, because Toulouse and Montpellier being in different regions up until now, they were actively, trying to get a connection to Paris with a high-speed train. And I was leaving my department, where I'm living, pretty much in the shit. I mean, there's been talks ever since I really take the train about the trains that are running from Toulouse to Perpignan, I guess, because they're turning at in Narbonne, I don't know really, but it's always so full, and because it's just so full, it's always running late by 15, 20, 30 minutes. You really don't want to take that train, and it's like that every Sunday, and we have trains like that during the week also. There's a Nîmes Toulouse that's around, and that's pretty funny. It arrives in Montpellier at 4:20, and you think you might blaze it, but it's always chock full of people. And you're like, yeah, no, I can take it, but if you don't take it, if you live close to Toulouse, you're fucked, because it's a 2.5 hour ride, and if you want to get there early, you don't have much of a choice. But with that before, my department was pretty much in the shit, because we have Toulouse, we have Montpellier, and we have Perpignan. Which are obviously three big cities, and they're taking all the population for them. But now that we have a big region, we're gonna have a big region. The axis that goes from Toulouse to Narbonne is going to be pretty much the spinal cord of the region, because it's one of the places that it's one of the axes that are linking Toulouse with Montpellier. And I mean, you have to think about it now, because you have had a terrible, you have no really management qualities, because there are two regions, and people can do without a good train service, and people have been telling that no, it doesn't work like that, you fucking morons. It's not all about the money, and even if it was all about the money, just think about it. Just think about all the money you could make if you had just one wagon to your trains. I mean, your trains are going to be full anyway. Just add one wagon, and it will be even fuller. But you'll have more people. More people means more money. And what I'm actually going to try and do something about stations, because I have calculated that there's a line that goes between Toulouse and Narbonne, and there are like 10 I think stations in Toulouse's department. On this line alone, 10 stations is really a lot, because it's 40 kilometers between Toulouse station and the last station in the department. 40 kilometers. That's one station every 4 kilometers. If you want that in miles, that's that's 2.5 miles. It's one station every 2.5 miles, which is a lot. On the other hand, we have 6 stations in our department, and there's like 100 kilometers in our department. Just so that's twice the distance, but a bit more than half the stations. You got one every 4 kilometers into this department. In my department, you have one every 16 kilometers. And 16 kilometers is 10 miles. You've got one station every 10 miles here in my, not here because I'm in Montpellier's department, and you have one station every 2.5 miles into this department, and I'm pretty sure that there's a station in pretty much every commune. I mean, because you know, the communes are the lowest tier of administrative stuff. They're pretty much the towns and the cities. We have one status, which is the commune. A commune can have many agglomerations can have many points where people live, but there's it's been decided, I think, at the revolution. It's one church, one commune, pretty much. So we had very little parishes, pretty much, in France, which means there's like more than 60,000 communes in France. That's a lot, but that allows to have a very democratic way of living. You know, there's no counties. You have the system. There's the commune, the canton, that's not really something though. The canton lives together with the intercommunality, which is a group of communes that could be on various cantons or just part of the canton, but not really. They're more in the management of the territory, really. Then there's the arrondissement, which could take many parts, a whole part of a department, but also be a part of the town, like in Paris or Marseille or Lyon. Then there's a department, then there's a region, and then there's a state. Now there's also the metropolis, because Lyon is a pretty much autonomous metropolis, because it's seceded from the Rhône department where it was in. But it takes the place of intercommunalities in big towns, basically. So there were, when I first took the train to Orléans to see a friend, I had to make a connection in Bordeaux. And in Bordeaux, in the station, there's this big mural painting of the old southern railways. And the network in my department, it's something like you wouldn't expect. There's a line going from Limoux to Pamiers, but you're like, how can it go there? There's nothing there. Turns out, in the 1860s, there was a demand. There was a line from Moux to Caen, and if you know a little bit of my department, you'll see that those are not exactly towns that you think would be linked by train. But in Caen, there were mines of marble. There was a line going from Narbonne to Bise, and that line was even supposed to go to a little town in the Tarn department. And you're like, no, how? And there's also the line going from Carcassonne to Rivesaltes, which is now cut between Quillan and Saint-Martin-Lys. Because it was dangerous. It was a line in the mountain, pretty much. And there was so many stations. Like, I'm gonna look at it again. Just on the portion going from Carcassonne to from Narbonne to Toulouse. Besides the stations in between Toulouse and in Toulouse department, in my department there was so it started, I think, at Ségala, and then there was Mas Sainte-Puelle, and was a line that changed that went from there to Castres, and you could change and also go to Montauban, which is pretty crazy. And then there's Castelnaudary, which is still open, Pec-sur-Art, Uh, Now I don't think now it would have the train Bram, which there was also a line going from Bram to to Pamiers. Really was going to Belvez. If you know the region, you think, hey, how? Yeah. Then there was Alzon, Pesens, nothing between Pesens and Carcassonne, but it's pretty normal because there's nothing there really. There was I don't think it crosses between in Villegayenc or Penotier. I don't think the train goes there. Carcassonne, Trèbes, Flour-Barbera, Capendu, Douzens, Moux. So Carcassonne is still open. All the 3 or 4 stations I just said there, all closed. Lézignan still open, Vildaigne, Marcorignan, and Narbonne. And to be fair though, I'm not sure that's all the stations that there were, because I'm pretty sure that there was a station in Nevian, which is between Vildaigne and Marcorignan. Like I'm also watching in Montpellier's department, there's line going from Béziers to Marvejols in the Lozère department, and it's like how? Why did people in the 1860s think, yeah, we're gonna need all that train, and now they don't think the same way? I mean, there's a huge advertising campaign in my region that says, hey, don't pay that much money on fuel, just take the train. And I'm like, hey, fuck you, the closest stations to me are Carcassonne and Lézignan, and they're both 20 kilometers away. I don't want that. That's not going to make any difference. I mean, if I'm someone who works, not a lot of people who live in my village work in my village. That's just the thing it is. We work in Carcassonne, we work in Lézignan, we work in Narbonne, Port-la-Nouvelle, wherever there's actually work. But to go there, it's easier to take the car than go and take the train. If they just open more stations in my department, like I have some ideas, you could reopen Trèbes station. I mean, it's close to Carcassonne, but it's a pretty big town. You open the station in my village, which is, halfway between Lézignan and Carcassonne. You could open, I don't know, not Pexioa or Mas-Saint-Epuel or Ségala. I think that Ségala Plus is the station is now in the middle of a factory. But yeah, don't let only Bram and Castelnaudary. Just open maybe Alzon or Pesens. You could open, I don't know. I mean, between Lézignan and Narbonne, I don't see what stations you could open. But maybe there are people who are in Vildaigne or Nevian or Marcognan who think, hey, maybe if you reopen the station, we would take the train gladly. So, I mean, there's pretty much a quarter-hour ride to Narbonne in car when you live in those villages. It's 10 minutes, 5 minutes in train. Same goes for my village. There's virtually no time. You don't have all the congestion. I don't know how you say it, but there's no traffic if you take the train. And on the other end, you've got trains going from Carcassonne to Quillan, 1 per hour, and they're going through villages such as Coufoules-Leuc, Verzeille, Pomas, Alette, Limoux. Limoux is a town. There was the station in Sepi and Madame. Madame is a hamlet, and Sepi is a little village that has now grown pretty far away from the railway tracks. Much like there's the tracks are going close to a village, close to Lézignan, but it's it's Cognac-Corbière. But the tracks now aren't really they're not going really to they're not really close to the town, and but it was a time where you had a lot of money because the it was not nationalized, you know. There was a lot of concurrence. There was no monopolies. Like there was one line of the southern railways was going from Sète to Montpellier, and there was also a line from the PLM, the Paris-Lyon Mediterranean railways that were going between Montpellier and Sète. And you had the choice. You could take the train that were going to Balaruc and Saint-Jean-de-Védas, or you could take the train that was going from Sète to Montpellier by Frontignan. So I'm not sure it was really going through Frontignan. And then also there's, urban expansion, which means like today you wouldn't think that it would be okay to open a station in a village called Les Angloux, because it's in Agde. But in the 1950s, 1960s, it was totally okay because Agde was still a pretty small town. And I'm like, yeah, if you reinforce the network in the region, in what's going to be one of the biggest regions in France, not only in terms of area, but also in terms of innovation. Toulouse, it's the town where you have Airbus, and you're like, why? But I mean, yeah. So that was a little rant about why I'm pissed that I can take the train in my village. Also, it would make me walk in my village, which is something I haven't done in years, really. Besides going to my grandparents' home, I don't do much in my village. So yeah, thanks for watching. Jesus Christ. I mean, you go on Wikipedia and you search for what's the English name? Chemin de fer du Midi. You look for that and you see the map. And just think about how the region that's covered on this map is now very, very much the countryside. There's maybe a few big towns like Toulouse and Montpellier and Bordeaux. I mean, you could argue that Agen, Montauban, Carcassonne, Béziers, Sète, Narbonne are big towns. There are also Perpignan. But it's not the same level. Tarbes, Pau, Bayonne, Dax, Mont-de-Marsan. One of the big places to change the train was Morsinx. Now I don't think there's still a train there. But that's really, you're like, why did you change the whole thing? Oh, and now, on the other end, they've opened some lines. Like, I remember taking the train from Pau to Lourdes and not stopping in Assat, Coaraz, Nai, Saint-Pé. Maybe there was a stop in Saint-Pé. Maybe it was more of an express. I don't know. But you look at that map and you're like, there's a train going from Bordeaux to La Pointe de Grave. La Pointe de Grave is really the end of the Gironde estuary, and you're like, yeah, that would be great if it stayed the same. Pretty much, I know that when they nationalized it, they closed many secondary lines, and then they closed a lot of stations. but that's, and then there was the war, and they didn't think that after the war it would be really interesting to open those stations again, and that's sad, really. So see you tomorrow, where I'll talk about, I don't know, maybe why I like wrestling so much, pro wrestling, WWE. Bye.